So since this is a small piece, I'm going to use my smaller palette knife. And all I want to do is try and kind of get to a place where I mix some of these colors that are in my painting. I usually start with my background color and deconstruct it over the painting and then go back with the colors of the object of my focal point and then go back over that background. So I mix a rough color, and it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. It can be a little mottled because that would be interesting too. So what I do is I mix the color and then I wipe it off. And I'm just making this stuff up, you guys. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just wiping off my palette knife because what I want to do now is I go into the color and I just want to pull what I call a bead. So a line of color on one edge. So once I pull that line of color, what I can do is, and I can decide, do I want to just go up and down, or do I want to go on an angle, or do I want to follow the edge? Doesn't matter. It's totally arbitrary because I'm just making this up. So I might just go up and down here. And then in my wood grain, I'll usually do a few lines in the direction of the wood as well with that same sort of thing. Then what I'll do is I'll usually get another value of the same sort of thing. So that background color, I'm going to mix a lighter background color and do something similar, but a little bit less of it. And I can overlap some of the darker brown. Why not? Mix it on the fly. I just want to get somewhere near the color of those flowers. And I'm going to do the same thing. And all I'm doing is getting the bead. And again, just kind of putting some thick areas on top of the flowers. And maybe some that will run off the edges a little bit. Even all the way off the side. I don't know. Why not? Okay, so then the last thing I would do, after messing around with that little by little, I could again go in and say, oh, I went too far there. I can scrape some of that off a little bit, or go back over it with some of my browns, because I've still got those mixed, is I would go into my lights, mix it up, wipe off my brush, scoop some onto that brush, or that palette knife, sorry. Making my lights the thickest part of my painting. I mean, maybe I'm just an art nerd. I am definitely an art nerd. But I find this exciting. The idea of potentially failing, but also potentially doing something really cool. I would probably just continue on like this and do a little bit more and maybe tighten it up in places, not deconstruct as much, or go in with my bright white, maybe add that bright highlight back in a few places. Just to give it those few extra little messed up touches.